जनाब आमिर भाई साहब, आप हमेशा हमने यारी आपो छो ने हमेशा हमने आप इंस्पायर करो छो मौलानी मोहब्बत में अने मौलानी जाफिशानी में अने मौलानी खिदमत में ने मारा पर्सनल लाइफ की बात करूँ तो मने पोताने घना इंस्पायर कीधा छे ने घना आप समझाया छे ने हिदायत भी दिया छे। आपने शुक्रगुजार अमे करीए छे बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स। बीजी बात एम के आपने आप सेक्रेटरी तो छो ज पर आपने इजन अर्ज करिए छे आवता वर्षनु इब्राहिम भाई साहब आप आ वर्ष पधारा घनी रौनक थई। आप दोबारा आवता वर्ष पधारजो ज अने आप साथे आपना बाबाजी साहब सैयदी मुकाशर साहब तमा मजदूर ने भी लईने आवजो। आप पोते घना सहाय कीधा छे हमारा वास्ते, आप इन्हें भी लेने आवजो अने मौला ने भी अर्ज करो कि मौला नो कदम मुबारक थाय तो हमारो बेरो पार से मौला पधारे इंशाअल्लाह। आप आमिर भाई साहब सैफी बुरहानी हॉस्पिटल ना बारा में आप पहला तो अपने सैफी बुरहानी हॉस्पिटल ना बारा में आप ये जिक्र फरमायूं आमिर भाई साहब अने मौलाना नूरानी कलिमात में से हतुं के आ तो मौलाना मोहब्बतनो इजहार छे हमारा वास्ते। हवे आ रूम में कोई नहीं होय, कोई एक जन नहीं होय जेना उपर बुरहानुद्दीन मौलाना करम अने एहसान अनगिनत होय एवा होय, कोई भी एक नहीं होय। गई काले हमारा कीनोट स्पीकर बाहर ना हता भाई समीर मोराली ओबीसीना उपर घनी खूबी सी बात की थी। आ सैफी बुरहानी हॉस्पिटल की जिक्र सामने ने इतला मूव थया कि आ मोहब्बत ना असास पर हॉस्पिटल बनेलू छे। इतला मूव थया कि अपने जे भी के ऑनरेरियम ने आपवानुं हतुं, जे भी के ट्रेवल एक्सपेन्सेस आपवाना हता, ही टर्न्ड इट ऑल डाउन। ही सेज बधा जे पैसा तमे मने आपवाना हता बधा सैफी हॉस्पिटल में आपो, कारण के आ हॉस्पिटल मोहब्बत सी बनेली छे। दुनिया में एवी कोई हॉस्पिटल नहीं होय। आ पारका मानस आवीने एम कहे छे तो अपने तो मुमनीन छे, अपना ऊपर तो बुरहानुद्दीन मौलानु कितलू रहमत छे। सो अपने नहीं का हाजिर थई है, अपने नहीं करिए। अपना व्हाट्सएप ना जरिया सी लिंक्स तो आपेला ज छे, जरूर 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 साइन अप करिए। हुनर सी, रिसोर्सेस सी, टाइम सी, जात जात की खिदमत अवेलेबल छे। जे भी खिदमत करवू होय, इफ यू हैव अनदर आइडिया टेल अस योर अदर आइडिया, जे भी खिदमत करवू होय करी सको। पर आ तो बुरहानुद्दीन मौलानु हॉस्पिटल छे जे पोतानु मोहब्बतनु इजहार छे ने हमें शू शामिल नहीं थई है। वी मस्ट, हमारा ऊपर वाजिब छे, आवर टाइम हैज कम टू स्टैंड अप फॉर दिस। तो प्लीज आप जरूर आमा शामिल थईए। बाकी ना घना बदा हमारा इनिशिएटिव्स छे, but we really want to open it up to everybody to hear what you have to say. I know that Ali Asghar Diwan, where is he, is working hard on a mentoring initiative for trainees. So we must support that. We've heard a lot about Iraq, a lot about public health issues going on here, and of course our work with Mufaddal Khan, with Jamiatul Saifiya. मौला हमेशा जामिया नवास्ते घनी आला जिक्र फरमावे छे, and for us to be partaking in that is amazing. So we appreciate all of that. With this, I'd like to open it up. I just want to echo one last thing Amir Bhai Sahab said, is we can go and we can hear about coronary calcium scoring everywhere. We can hear about all of these things anywhere we go. What did we hear today? We heard how we can put it in action to help our community. What did we hear today? We heard Maulani Zikr side by side with our medical knowledge, complementary to, part of our medical knowledge. And this is what is really special about this, and this is what really moved me about this conference. So I want to thank you all for attending, of course, and I want you to urge you to come next year to sunny Los Angeles, hopefully sunny Los Angeles. Hopefully we don't have a hurricane at that time. I want you to come next year to sunny Los Angeles and bring your friends. Everybody, if you could bring one person, would be amazing. Just convince one person to come. It would be amazing. I'll open it up to the rest of the board and to the rest of the audience for any ideas, comments, questions, concerns. Alifia bin, please come Where's Lulua? Lulua, come up. Yeah.
I'm really glad to see we had a large turnover this year, better than last 2 times. I still feel like we're missing our Canadian doctors and providers. So I think that we need to make quite an effort to include them.
I think that's really good feedback, and we need to investigate ways to do that. We appreciate that. Hatim? Hatim bhai? Where's Hatim bhai? You're taking notes, right, on all of this feedback? Okay, great.
Salam. So my name is Aliaskar Saber. I'm a first-year medical student, and this is my first time attending SBMAA. तो पहला सगलानो शुक्रगुजार करूँ छूँ आमिर भाई जाम आमिर भाई साहब नो Ibrahim भाई साहब नो and all the board members. As my first time coming here, this is definitely an event that I can see myself coming to over and over again. The amount of networking, the contacts that I've made, the relationships that I've built, I've learned so much more that is not only going to help me in medical school, but it's going to help me in deen-wise and to inshallah become a successful physician like everyone else that's here. Just one suggestion that I had that I was thinking about is SBMA has a website, and at least something that I've noticed is a lot of times, like especially like in my Jamaat, people aren't sure, for example, like halal and haram, right? Or for example, when using certain products or stuff like that, like, okay, what can I use, what can't I use, what we can have, can't have. So is there any way maybe to make SBMA like the central site, central place where mu'mineen can turn to for any kind of information about, halal versus haram, or what can we eat, what can't we eat, and just what kind of medical products can be used, because obviously some stuff has alcohol, some doesn't, all those other kinds of things that we're just not sure about. So sometimes people just don't do it, or they'll use it and then they don't realize that, we're not supposed to use it. So is there a way that maybe SBMA can, we can make the site as like the one-stop destination for all mu'mineen, as, our repository for, how can we adhere to, medical practices while making sure that we're following Mullah's farman as well?
I think that's a great point. Too often, Western medical practices include haram things. I know in my field of cardiology, for a long time, there was a recommendation for red wine, a glass a night, to help raise HDL levels. That recommendation has fallen by the wayside, but long before it fell by the wayside, Mullah had been saying that not to do it. So I think that's a really good point. There are 2 initiatives that I wanted to just highlight real quick before we get to the next comment. One is Muharramat. We had a great talk today led by Mustafa Bhai on Muharramat. And a lot of times in our community, it's taboo to come forward and ask for help. And that's the last thing that we want. We as medical professionals are used to confidentiality. It's what we do. We're extremely confidential with everything. We have created a confidential line for anybody to text or call if they need help with this. We are looking for volunteers, 5 to 10 volunteers, to help staff this line, people who would feel comfortable counseling people with addiction issues within our community on a confidential basis. If you are interested in volunteering, please make sure that your name is either with me, with Alifia bin, or with Hatim Bhai, or Mustafa Bhai. Second thing that I wanted to just comment on real quick is when Dr. Mufaddal Bhai had the opportunity to araz his khidmat in Hazrat Imamiya. Mullah sawal puchu. Kitla doctor che America ma? Very simple sawal. Kitla doctor che America ma? And we realized we don't really have an answer to that question. We don't have strict counting. We have people who we know, we have estimates, we have all sorts of things. So we are endeavoring to get a strict count of all healthcare professionals in the United States. You'll be hearing more about that from your Umur Sehat coordinator. We ask you to please cooperate with their efforts to get a strict count of that. Yes.
Sorry, I may get beat up by the board for saying this, and maybe Sheikh Aziz Bhai before, but I'm going to say it anyways. Yeah. We are going to very soon create a registration process through the website, hopefully gathering our members' data for that. So just be on the lookout for that. again, this is very preliminary, but I think just be on the lookout, and if there's any suggestions on how to do that, we are open to that, because that needs to happen.
So let's get back to the questions. I want to answer the question about the website thing, because I think it's a really big opportunity. It's something that's been talked about amongst the board, and I think that it reflects back on all the talent we have in the audience. So people have written all kinds of articles. We saw the Muharramat presentation that Dr. Muhammad Manasawallah had put together that went throughout all the, I think, majority of Jamaats. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there. So we would look to people who are interested in maybe organizing blogs and things like that, where we can consolidate content that all the Jamaats can use. So I think it's a great opportunity that you mentioned, and we'll look for leadership in those types of things. So people who are interested in these types of things can come forward and present the opportunities and really take on those roles.
Salams everybody, Batul from Chicago. I just had one comment. Actually, first of all, this conference has been amazing. Marubi, first time I have the honor and privilege to know many of you up there, but this is my first time actually attending. The big takeaway for me has been that there's so much incredible work that's happening under the umbrella of SBA Maulani Duasi. And I think that the people on the ground in the cities and Jamaats don't necessarily know, right? And is there a way that you all have discussed about making sure that, like, Hamna, there's a selection bias here, right? The people that showed up here are sort of maybe already involved, maybe they already know the right people, but Ganaiwa Logoshe that don't have those connections and still really want to help. So how are you guys thinking about rolling this out so that lots of medical professionals, just looking at Chicago, there are like hundreds, right? So how are we going to make sure that all of the SBMA things are rolling out to all of those people?
So, I mean, I'm just going to answer it briefly in the sense that your question is how are you looking at it from a pure objective standpoint, how are we going to market it properly? And so when I say that word, it's because the principles of marketing are the same on how to spread the word. One of the most valuable ways is word of mouth. So everyone je hazir thaya che wa potana gam ma jase, and I guess it can look, I did this, go to the website, look at the talks, pick what you saw, look at the previous years, this is what the initiatives are, this is what happened. That's going to be great, because ek tame keso bijane kese, and all of a sudden you have 20 people that just realized. The next thing would be, on our side, we're going to work on that. That is something we want to do. As mentioned, we got to revamp the website, release the marketing. That being said, there's a lot of effort put into marketing. We're using WhatsApp. We were using, what was that, Aziz Bhai? Constant contact. We didn't really get, we had traction, right? So we tried, we threw these things, even for this conference, and I'll be honest, we threw a lot of information out there, tried to get people, okay, sign up, who wants to speak, tell us your topics. And we did it.
We do have a Twitter account and a YouTube channel. We're expanding into more social media. So anyone who's young and is actually interested in helping us with that on the social media front too, please contact us, and we would like to get you to help us with that as well.
आमा एक बराबर है कि डॉक्टर्स होने तो अपने एक आ कॉन्फ्रेंस नो एक गोल भी है कि जे अपना यहाँ नॉर्थ अमेरिकन फिजिशियंस છે ના વચમાં નેટવર્કિંગ મજબૂત થાય એક अपनो गोल છે પણ એના સાથે મેં એક બીજું આજે સગલા ડૉક્ટર્સોને અને બોર્ડને એસપીએમએને બી રિક્વેસ્ટ કરું છું કે મુમિનીનમાંથી બી ઘણી રિક્વેસ્ટ આવે છે કે મુમિનીનના અંદર કોઈ બી બીમારી થાય છે યા કંઈ થાય છે તો શું છે કે જે એમ પોતાના ગામના અંદર જો મુમિનીન ડૉક્ટર્સો હોય છે તો એને રીચ આઉટ કરે છે પણ હર ગામના અંદર ઘણીવાર રિસોર્સિસ નહીં હોતા અને ઘણીવાર ડાયગ્નોસિસ આવે છે ડૉક્ટર્સોથી તો ડૉક્ટર્સોથી ડાયગ્નોસિસ આવે છે તો એ લોકોને સેકન્ડ ઓપિનિયનની બી જરૂરત હોય છે તો કોઈ એક ફોર્મેટ હોય કે જે ફોર્મેટના જરિયાથી મુમિનીન બી એસબીએમએને રીચ આઉટ કરી શકે સેકન્ડ ઓપિનિયન વાસ્તે એનું બી કંઈ ચીજ થતું હોય તો આપણે કોશિશ કરીએ એમ.
I would just add to what Batul was saying, but the other thing is in terms of engagement from the people who have visited this conference. I know she herself started working on something that's close to her heart, which is an educational awareness program for children with disabilities. She's writing the proposal, she's going to submit it, and hopefully get an initiative going. So if you guys have ideas of I kind of like to say a project in a box or an initiative that is close to your heart, that you will invest in, that you will take ownership in, and will lead it. And hopefully we can provide the infrastructure to spreading that initiative through other Jamaats and connect people within the Jamaat, but also nationally.
Sheikh Fakhruddin Bhai, I think you had a question, and Sakina Ben. Oh, wait, one second.
So just one, sorry. And under, Dr. Bhai gave a good comment, Jay, like if you've seen someone in your Jamaat that's not here, please notify them. And biju me one other tariko bhai sahab me ko ke janab Sheikh Taha bhai Dallas na Amir sahab ap आया छो कॉन्फ्रेंस में બે દિન देखा એના વાસ્તે બી શુક્ર કરે છે સાહેબ આપનો કે પોતે આયા અને દેખું અને એ બી એક તરીકો છે સાહેબ આમ ઉમાલ કેરામ સગલા સાહેબો છે આપે દેખું જનાબ તો બીજા ઉમાલોને બી કહીએ કે આ મિસલ કોન્ફરન્સ થાય છે તમારા ગામમાં ડૉક્ટરોને જણાવો કે આમ કોન્ફરન્સમાં આવે સાહેબ તો એ બી એક અરજ છે સાહેબ
મસ્જિદમાં આપણે દેખાવામાં આવે છે તો maybe it will spread the word to all the Jamaats. A short video presentation.
We actually are preparing a video. We have one that our awesome intern has prepared from previous events, and we're going to update that with photos and information from this one. And so that
It's been playing between the talks here. I don't know.
yeah. So, but we are going to that this gets into also the social media comment as well too. We are going to try to, take everyone's contributions from these meetings and use that to, promote the meeting, the future meetings.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh. Huh? Oh, she's handing the mic. Okay.
Just wanted to say congratulations to everybody who was involved in putting this together. Alhamdulillah, ekdam, coming from a dental background, my expectations were a lot different. But aim sikhwanu milu, ghanu sikhwanu milu pehla to. સૌથી પહેલાં તો ઇબ્રાહીમભાઈ સાહેબનો શુક્ર અદા કરી છે કે આપનો બયાનથી એઝ મેડિકલ પ્રોફેશનલ્સ વી ઓલ રિયલાઇઝ આપનો અકીદો છે કે શિફા ખુદા આપે છે એન્ડ ટુ ઇન્કોર્પોરેટ ourselves as tools to help people get better પણ દિલમાં તો એમ જ હોય છે કે શિફા ખુદા આપે છે અને that really આ કમાલનો બયાન સુનાવીને એનાથી બરકત લઈને that really it honed in on me even more as what we do. But from a comment standpoint, presentations, the topics were very nice. Even in our dental practices, we see obesity patients in a treat karwanu. There's a lot of systemic diseases that are associated with the cavity, with the diseases of the oral cavity. The inu relationship, Muharramat was one, and mental health is a huge issue, especially dentistry is considered a primary care region of healthcare. And in under we see children, we see adolescents, we see, I can't tell you the number of times may jochu teenagers who come for wisdom teeth removal and in logona hat par ya cut marks so it's very sad, extremely sad when you give them a small dose of ketamine for sedation and they start reacting and they start saying stuff. I mean it's extremely sad. So our community my issues che which we see also. And this whole presentation was extremely helpful and beneficial. Because information line apne mu'minina par apply kari sake che. So that leads to the next thing. For future conferences, my suggestions would be if we can have a more holistic approach where we can combine the specialties, combine different fields, because oral cavity is part of the human body. We have to address it. And ena sathe have more implementable solutions and more practical ways of taking things from a conference and how aane kim apply karan. So it's great to have knowledge, but it's difficult to translate that into how I'm going to implement this into my practice. So agar apne ne am hoye ke like our conference che and our goals che and our goals ne am implement kari sakai che and next year pachi enu hoye એક ફોલો અપ કે આપને લાસ્ટ આ ટોપિક્સના પર કોન્ફરન્સ હતું આમ આપસી એક્સપેક્ટેશન હતું ઇમ્પ્લિમેન્ટ કરવાનું અને હવે આના શું રિઝલ્ટ્સ આવ્યા સો આઈ થિંક દેટ મે બી something that I would like to suggest as for next year's meeting.
I think that's great. As medicine is becoming more and more specialized, conferences are becoming more and more specialized. And one of the things that we have to offer is more of an interdisciplinary approach. So I think that's really valuable feedback. Appreciate that.
I think it's worth also saying that having the dental presence this year, much more than in the past, really has enhanced the conference. And so we appreciate the work that the dentists have done to make that happen. And I think that we need to add. Yeah.
Last year we had one per dentist. I will cut 9 aya. So inshallah next year double house inshallah.
Inshallah. And I think we need to expand that to all these fields, you know, pharmacy, therapy, physical therapists, nutrition, mental health, what else? Everything
I think
else,
that's an opportunity that the board is acutely aware of, is expanding to perhaps non-MD members, all sorts of allied health professionals, also dentists and other doctors as well.
I just want to say that we did try this year. One of the concepts that we did were, that's why we broke the talks up, to try to incorporate as much as we could. We definitely need to do better, and inshallah we'll continue to do that and incorporate all aspects of healthcare.
Comment over there.
Alhamdulillah, we had an excellent turnout with people that came for acupuncture. The point of having acupuncture for me was doing it for medical doctors and other people. So those people that have never experienced acupuncture, they can feel what it feels like. Now, with all the professionals, the doctors in the room, there's about 50% of the population that do alternative therapies. And so for a doctor to not experience or know these therapies is an issue. And so it gave me a lot of pleasure that a lot of people had come and experienced and said, oh, okay, Tasneeman, what do you do? How can you help patients? Giving options is an important part of overall care. And so hopefully next, to incorporate more natural things, more, people are not always inclined to take medications. They know they have a problem. Oh, well, my side effects che, and then they're left with no care whatsoever. So to have a working knowledge of other options for your patients, I think, is a very important thing.
I think that's a great point, and I would love to be able to educate everybody who comes, including myself, more on the uses of alternative therapies, because we're all trained in traditional Western allopathic medicine. And so I think that's something that we could.
I want to echo that. I hope you don't mind, but I want to thank Tasneem bin and Fatima bin for coming out. They've come out for the last couple of conferences now, and they've certainly been very hands-on about teaching all of us about alternative therapies, acupuncture, cupping, massage, all these things that all of us use and are prescribed in our primary practices, but don't really honestly know enough about. So I just want to, from everyone here, I really want to thank the two of these medical professionals who are under-recognized and definitely overachieve. Thank you so much.
Okay, open for maybe one or two more comments before we close this off.
एक चीज़ अपने यहाँ सेफी बुरानी मेडिकल एसोसिएशन अने आज सगला जे पार्टिसिपेंट्स है ये सगला तरफ से अपने शेख आमिर साहब शेख ताहा भाई अने यहाँ डालस जमात ने भी खास शुक्रिया कहिए छे हमें सगला वी ऑल फेल्ट एट होम अने टेक्सास हॉस्पिटैलिटी घणું एन्जॉय कीधું अने शुक्रान सगला एकदम सगलू चीज़ वेल ऑर्गेनाइज हटू अने घनी सगला ने घणું टमकुन हटू शुक्रान सगला
I think we had one more.
So it was a great conference, my first time coming. Definitely will attend more. The only I think one suggestion that I have for someone in a position of my training who's in residency and about to go into, the real world, would be having, there's such a wealth of knowledge in terms of different people working in different areas, whether it's academia, whether it's private practice, whether it's that or another sort of group practice, just having more throughout the year, maybe implementing some business seminars or something like that, because even in residency, we don't get those sort of education. So when we go out, we don't really know how contracts are. When they talk about different types of contracts, you know, how my salary is going to be. They don't talk about insurance, which is something that you guys all share so much wealth of knowledge about. So I really would appreciate that sort of education.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're looking forward to incorporating more of next year. We felt that too, some of the more business aspects of medicine. And that's a tangible point that came out of last year's conference. This session, the closing session, last year's conference, of the feedback that we got was more for residents and trainees. And so this year, we actually opened up a subsection of SBMAA specifically for residents and trainees, being headed by Dr. Ali Asghar Diwan, who's going to be fleshing that out more. So you'll be hearing more about that in times to come.
And that's one point we really want to, I think, focus on as part of next year when we talk about multidisciplinary approaches, what's applicable to everyone, becoming more business-minded, Pramolas Farman, in what's essentially a profession, is something we're really going to focus on in upcoming meetings.
Anything to say about it, Asghar?
Sure. We actually received a lot of great feedback. Ibrahim Bhai was also part of that session, and we hope to implement a lot of these things for residents, trainees, medical students, and pre-med students as well, which I believe was the consensus. We have a working group going, and we also have a mentorship program going. So if there are any attendees out there who want to be a mentor to students, and students who would like a mentor, please go on the SP Medical website, and there's a link there to sign up. Thank you.
Okay, we have, I think, time for perhaps one more comment over here from the ladies.
This is my second time attending this. Thank you to all the staff who has enabled us to attend and learn this. My only suggestion would be is if you all can incorporate, like the brother said, in the administrative and leadership in healthcare, because I feel people who are coming in from residency programs and stuff like he said, how to read the contracts, or the new people who are coming out of medical school, they don't know how to sign up for contracts, non-compete contract, and you know, all the logistics and the legal aspects. I think we all need to be a little bit more ahead of that curve, and if we can get that educated in those aspects.
Yeah, I think that's really good, and I think that's a strength that we have to offer as an interdisciplinary conference. Once again, so many doctors are so specialized now, you can get the specialized knowledge anywhere. We have to play to our strengths and what we have to offer. I think we're about that on time. Any more comments from the board? I think Alifia Ben has one comment, yeah.
I just wanted to say the highlight for me was, again, shukran to everyone for coming, but you know, I can go to my own academy of American physicians or whatever to get obesity training or even mental illness training. But for me, what was heartfelt, sahab, ke aap logo sahebo yahan hata, ane Sayyidina Tahir Saifuddin Mulai Su farmayo, Sayyidina Muhammad Burhanuddin Mulai Su farmayo, aap logo na personal stories sab e saglu suni ne e je joran thay uche ena vaste sab ghanu ghanu shukur. Ane you will close, but I just wanted to say, agar sab
I just wanted
karamat
to say one quick anecdote on that real quick. Neuro-linguistic programming na talk ma, I think Zainab Ben na? Tasneem Ben was giving a wonderful talk, and you highlighted it so perfectly with the anecdote of Sayyidina Tahir Saifuddin. It really brought it home. That was just an example of what Alifia Ben was saying. It was amazing.
અને સાહેબો આપ લોકોની કરામતમાં કંઈ કસૂર થયું હોય, અને to the attendees, if we fell short in any way, we apologize and we will try to do better next time.
Akhirma, the time has come to close the session. Want to thank you all for attending. Want to urge you all to bring one extra person with you next year. Akhirma, hamara hamesha dua che ke je tabib-e ruhani. एक मिनट जनाब इब्राहिम भाई साहब खिताब करें.
नेक्स्ट ईयर हम कोशिश करियो कि इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस થાય.
हमने भाई अमेरिका नुशा सगला अक्खा दुनिया में से डॉक्टरों ने जना वो होते बोला हुआ इतनु शानदार हटू सगलो घणु अप्रिशिएट करूँ छो ने कमेंडेबल एक्सेलेंट क्यों एक्सेलेंट जॉब खुदा घणी मुबारक करे सगला ने खिदमत दुआ करूँ खुदा ताला तमने सगला ने सेहत में राखे डॉक्टरों ने तमारा तुफेल में सगला पेशेंट्स जे आवे तमा पास એને સેહતમાં રાખે અને ये સગલાની સેહતોને मौलाना मुफद्दल सैफुद्दीन आकानी सेहत पर कुर्बान करी ले यानी खुदा मौलाना क़यामत दिन बाकी राखे खुशो खुर्रम राखे एक मौला हुसैन ना गम सिवा कोई गम ना दिखावे
बुरहान दीन ना जानी मायकुम आया बनल मुस्तफ़ा दा बन वन अमल वज़ाइफ़ वताईदकुम नस्ती उदर साउलूमिकुम वतक़वा अला तक़वा कुवाना ज़ाइफ़ु विल इलाही उम्र सैफ़िन लदीन कल्लज़ी हाज़ा मिन गुर्रे शुऊन अफ़ानीना अबक़ाहु रब्बुल अर्श फ़ी कुल्ल निअमतिन वअदाउहु बिन्नार जबहातुहुम तुक़वा वसल्ला अला ताहा